I found it. Guys, I finally found it. It's taken me over half of the year, but it's here. Oh my god. Finally. Are you ready? Here we go.
What's going on, people? Hope you're doing good. And today I can finally say I have found it. That's right. I have finally found it. It's taken us over 6 months, but it's here. It's out in broad daylight. I have found the worst movie of 2025. Congrats, Flight Risk. You're no longer the worst movie of the year. Congratulations to you. I'm just going to be honest with you now, guys. If this movie is not number one on the worst movies of the year list in December, there's something wrong. There is no way a movie can be worse than this that comes out in the next few months. In fact, I am so certain that no movie will be worse than this in the coming months, that if this movie does not become my number one worst movie of the year come December, I will eat a spoonful of peanut butter. Now, I know that doesn't really sound like a big forfeit, but I hate peanut butter. I hate it more than anything on this planet. I cannot stand peanut butter. So I'm making this vow now. If it is not number one by the end of the year on the worst movies of the year list, I will eat a spoonful of peanut butter. But what is this mysterious movie, you might be asking? Well, you probably know because it's in the title and it's in the thumbnail. It's the movie called Alarum. Now, you may be thinking, I don't think I've heard of this movie before. And that's probably because you haven't. Because there has literally been no marketing for this movie. There's been a trailer, there's been a couple clips released, and then it's just been released to a massive wet fart. There has literally been no hype for this movie. And who can blame Lionsgate? Yes, Lionsgate put this out. You know, the studio that brought us the John Wick films and many other great films, they released this piece of crap. It honestly just felt like they released it just to get it out of the way because they knew it sucked. But the thing is, when you look at the poster for this movie, you realise this isn't just some obscure indie film with some unknown actors. This has got some heavy hitters. We have Scott Eastwood, he's Scott Eastwood, and he's one of these actors where I see him like, oh yeah, Scott Eastwood. I remember him from Pacific Rim 2. But then you get Sylvester Stallone, Rambo himself. And you're thinking like, oh my god, Sylvester Stallone? It must be a big movie then if he wanted to agree to this. Think twice. And then you have Mike Coulter, the guy who played Luke Cage in the Netflix Marvel shows. Like, this cast is not some, like, obscure little group. Like, these are some heavy hitters and well-known people. So what is the plot of Alarum? Well, it's about these two spies who are in love, and they're on the run, and they're also on holiday as well, I believe in Germany. And there's this military asset called the poisonous pill, which the couple wants, Stallone wants, and Mike Coulter wants. And I think he's working for the government and military. I'm just going to be honest with you now. I cannot talk about this plot. I cannot describe it. And I'll tell you why. Because this movie makes no sense whatsoever. And it is so freaking boring. Without exaggeration, Alarum is one of the most boring films I have ever seen. It's in the same group as Jurassic World Dominion and Transcendence. Remember Transcendence, that Johnny Depp film for a few years ago? Yeah, that was a real chore to get through. This movie is full to the brim of action movie cliches. Everything that happens in this movie, you've seen done better in like 50 other movies. As I said, this movie's plot makes no sense whatsoever. But even if it was somewhat coherent, we've seen this plot line done so much better in many other films. The characters are the most personalityless people I have ever seen in a movie. You could have put statues in this movie replacing the actors, and they would have done a far better job. But you might be thinking, oh, it's an action movie, so maybe the action will be somewhat entertaining. No, it's just gunfight in a woods, gunfight in a hotel, gunfight in another hotel, gunfight against a drone that lasts like 2 minutes. and is easily the most interesting fight in the movie. It's just pew, 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 pew. That is literally it. And I'm not saying simple gunfights can't work in a movie. They absolutely can. But when you do it in the most bland way possible, it's just not entertaining in the slightest. And what also doesn't help these action scenes, as well as the whole movie, is how cheaply made it is. Now, this movie's budget was $20 million. Are you sure you didn't add a couple more zeros to that? Because if this movie's budget was $200, I would have actually believed it more than this number. And I bet you right now, I bet all of you my life savings right now, that most of that budget went towards the actors' payments. I bet you all my life savings that is exactly where the majority of the budget went. The remainder of the budget was made to make one of the most cheapest looking action movies ever. And the cheapness is on full display with literally the opening shot of this movie. Now, I will give the movie this. The opening scene of this movie was so laughably bad that it honestly gave me confidence that I was about to watch a really fun bad movie. Unfortunately, it wasn't like that, but I will give the movie that it did have some moments of fun bad. Now, the opening scene of this movie is of this shot of a city, and we're clearly on a balcony. It's also very clear that we're not in front of glass. We're not looking through glass. But then all of a sudden, two PNG images of bullet holes going through glass just suddenly appear into frame. And it was like, what? What? Oh my god. It was so laughable. And it honestly gave me hope, as I said. Unfortunately, the movie was so boring. But that opening shot and that opening scene, I was laughing my arse off. And the movie's cheapness just keeps going. In that opening scene, the muzzle flashes on the guns. Oh my god, I could do better. I could do far better than what this movie was doing with them. And the CGI blood, oh my god. It honestly just looked like slime. It honestly looked like plastic slime just coming out of people. And some of the other technical aspects, while not cheap, they just make no sense whatsoever. Especially with the music. The music in this movie made no sense. There's this very tense action scene. And then there's like heavy metal music with like lyrics over it. And it's not like stealthy or anything like that, which could have worked. No, it's like... And the movie's not that thrilling anyway. It's literally just... It's not that fast or anything, so the music just doesn't fit. And even when this movie tries to fit in some hand-to-hand combat, it still doesn't fit the tone of the scene. And by the way, the hand-to-hand combat in this movie was so laughable. So slow, so janky. It was like, oh my god. And now we're going to get into my final point. The acting. Because the acting in this movie just made this movie even more boring. As I said, the characters have no personality. And that's because it's clear that the actors are not trying. Scott Eastwood is just sleeping his way through this movie. He could not give less of a crap. And they tried to make him like this witty guy who's always pulling out puns like James Bond. But it just doesn't work because he says them in the most dry manner possible. Like, imagine some of the most iconic Bond one-liners in his tone.
Well, he always did have an inflated opinion of himself.
Well, he always had an inflated opinion of himself.
For England, James? No. For me.
For England, James? No. For me.
I think I officially jinxed the trip.
I am not exaggerating. That is how he delivers his lines when he's tried to be quirky. Like, he was just so dead. And Stallone as well also looked so bored in this movie. His introductory scene is so quiet and lifeless. They're obviously trying to build tension to, like, make his character more dramatic. But it just doesn't work. Because the camera angles, the way it's shot, is just boring. And Stallone's just like, oh, yeah. And the last point I really do want to make about the acting is just how they react to some things, especially when they get hurt. There's many times where people are getting punched or shot, and they just act like it's nothing. For instance, Scott Eastwood's girlfriend or wife, she gets absolutely walloped in the face, and she just goes, ugh. Like, ugh. And then there's another part where a guy gets shot, and he just goes, ooh. Like, ooh. Bro, you've been shot. You should be screaming out for your life. There's only one word I could associate this movie with, and that's lifeless. Everything is so lifeless and dry. The acting, the action, the story, everything is just... This 90-minute movie felt like 3 hours. It was an absolute chore to get through. The only people who should watch this movie are people suffering with insomnia. To those with insomnia, you're welcome. I just gave you a good night's sleep. But yeah, Alarum, absolutely hated this movie. There's no other score I can give it than the prestigious, monumental 0 out of 10. And people, that is the end of this review. If for some goddamn reason you've seen Alarum, do let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. And see you later.